Namaste and a warm welcome to Brand Equity with me, Sonali Krishna. When one looks at the growth of television, both pre-pandemic and during the pandemic, one genre stands out as a star, and that's the Hindi news genre. Over the last 5 years or so, ever since the launch of BARC, the Hindi news space has recorded a mammoth 183% growth, which is the biggest if compared to any other genre, even Hindi general entertainment or movies. What's changed when one talks of TV viewing habits, and what does the future hold for the Hindi news space per se? Well, today I'm joined by 3 advertisers who have invested heavily in the Hindi news space and are men who put their money where their mouth is. They're also experts when one talks of consumer trends and, of course, consumer insights. So without further ado, let me introduce to you my esteemed panelists. Mahesh Gupta, Managing Director, Kent RO, Ashish Bajaj CMO Medibuddy, and Maheshwara Chaitanya, Chairman Admissions Tech Amrita University. And with that, thank you so much, gentlemen, for taking time out and joining me right here on Brand Equity. Many thanks for supporting the Hindi news genre, as you all are one of the pioneers in doing so. So I'm going to start this discussion into deep diving about your perspective on the Hindi news genre, and more importantly, where you've seen consumer habits in terms of viewing change. I'll start with you, Mr. Mahesh Gupta. If you could tell me, what do you see as the biggest change in terms of television viewing habits with consumers, pre-pandemic, but more importantly, during the pandemic, because a lot of our habits have changed, during the last 18 months or so.
What we have seen over the last 5 years period in Hindu news genre is a lot of activities happening at national level and local level. To speak of the elections, elections have been a part of the activities which is happening, either some states or central elections, or every time it's happening, every 3 months or 4 months or 6 months, we find elections happening. So election is something which brings consumers onto the news genre, because that's where you can carry out a lot of debates and participation of the consumers. People are interested to know what is happening around, number one. Number two, political activities have gone up over a period of time. And political activities bring again consumers to the news genre, and especially Hindi genre, because large part of the country speaks Hindi. The English news is a very small percentage of the population who like to watch Hindi news, English news. So Hindi news is a wider area where people come and speak and listen to the news. So political activities, elections, number of activities happening, and then came the pandemic. So pandemic, people were hooked at home, so they had nothing else to do with how much of entertainment one will see. So in the news, you will find people's anxiety to know what is happening, and you are discussing it and having a debate on one item or the other item. So people would love to listen to those debates. So I think that's caused the increase in the viewership of the Hindi news channel, and that is very logical. But it's a good sign that people want to get informed. People want to look at the debate. So I look at it from a positive side, that instead of negativity, it's turning towards the positive side. और लोगों को मजा आ रहा है वो हिंदी न्यूज देखने में. खाली ये नहीं कि वो पॉजिटिव एक्टिविटी है, इंफॉर्मेशन मिल रही है, लोग उसको शेयर कर रहे हैं, और थिंग्स आर हैपनिंग, एंड दैट्स अ वेरी पॉजिटिव साइन टू माय माइंड.
Absolutely. I mean, आपकी insight एकदम बराबर है. Let me take it to you, Ashish. Do you think that over the last 5 years, because this data that I've got, BARC launched in 2015, and जब से BARC का launch हुआ है, we've seen progressively last 5 years, you've seen that the viewership has risen by 183%. Even if you look at viewership share has also doubled in terms of compared to other genres. Do you think, I mean, apart from what Mr. Mahesh Gupta said, would you say that there is more interest in the country's politics? There is more interest in what's happening with elections than, let's say, a decade ago?
Definitely there has been interest, because people want to know more. and Hindi being the highest spoken language in the country. And now in last 5 years, the content reaching at my home has also increased. Also, the content created by the Hindi news genre, well compared to the erstwhile years, have also improved. आप बहुत सारे नए factors add हो गए हैं in terms of content creation as well. Even coming to that point, and if I look at the last 15 to 18 months as well, the general entertainment was not picking up new shows. There were not new movies to be released as WTPs. The Hindi news genre was the one which was still fighting out, even given the factor or the situations that were around us. Even in that pandemic, these guys were producing the correct content which was required for our information. More than the excitement of the content, I think in the last 15 to 18 months, again, you can say there has been another shift in the way the content is produced at Hindi news genres. And it has become now more informative led. So इसी वजह से we all agree that genre has improved at drastic levels and at very, very fast pace than compared to any other genre.
Mr. Maheshwara Chaitanya, आप education space में हो, you have seen the young PD. I know that when I was growing up and I was a young, student or a college kid, मुझे इतना interest नहीं था politics में. I was more interested in my life. लेकिन the younger generation, ये जो नई पीढ़ी है, आपको लगता है कि बहुत difference है कि उनकी interest on national issues, on political issues, on क्या हो रही है इस country में, there is a far bigger interest, and hence उनको भी they're much more interested in watching news per se, which has given that impetus, वो push दिया है Hindi news genre को.
Yeah, I think it is much more than political content, I would say, because we have been doing so much of advertisements in this Hindi segments, especially with Times, of course, in the upcoming channel. So my take on this is, जब से वो NEP शुरू हो गया, NEP का implementation शुरू हो गया, और जब कोचिंग क्लासेस पूरा टेलीविजन पे आने लगे, तो मुझे ये लग रहा है कि that audience, they would want the content to be in the regional language. And one important thing is, during the pandemic, everything went online, everything went digital, or everything went through channels. So whatever discussions we used to have in English alone, that was converted totally to Hindi. And definitely the parents would want more in terms of, the language which is close to their heart. And that is how it changes. And I'm sure that is the reason why things have been changing so tremendously in the past couple of years.
Mr. Mahesh, coming to you, wanted to check with you on whether you think this entire proliferation of digital, the reach, the fact that today so many more Indians have access to content as opposed to, let's say, a decade ago, and everybody, any one of us can actually make content. हम खुद content बना के दिखा सकते हैं. Citizen journalism है. अगर कुछ हो रहा है, मैं मेरी मोबाइल के साथ शूट करके अपलोड कर सकती हूँ, वो वायरल भी हो सकता है. Because of this, do you think Indians per se have gotten more engaged with the country? And my second question as a adjoinder to this is, do you think it matters if channels are politically aligned? Do people get more interested when channels have political alignment to a party, or do you think people are more interested in having politically neutral views?
Answering part A.
Sure.
Yes, people are getting more information. ज़्यादा information को मिल रहा है. Digital portion से भी मिल रहा है, news से भी मिल रहा है, print से भी मिल रहा है. Print में interest कम हुआ है, लोग कम पढ़ना चाहते हैं, देखना ज़्यादा चाहते हैं. तो सोशल मीडिया पे इमीडिएट उनको ट्विटर हो चाहे फेसबुक हो, इमीडिएट इंफॉर्मेशन मिलती है, और कुछ जर्नलिस्ट भी अपना कंटेंट उसके ऊपर पोस्ट करते हैं. बट मैं समझता हूँ प्रिफर्ड मीडिया अभी भी बिगर स्क्रीन है. जैसे हम अभी बोलते हैं कि सिनेमा बिगर स्क्रीन इज मच मोर प्रिफर्ड. सिमिलरली फ्रॉम द हैंड फोन to a TV screen is a more preferred because you can see a better picture. In fact, I would say in the news genre, a good thing is coming up now. You are changing over to HD. One channel came with the HD version. So now your new channel has come in HD version and some more channels will come. So feel good factor will come into the channel. That's what people want to have a look at it because they feel a good factor to it. But there is no doubt about it that the interest in content has gone up and it will continue to go up. In fact, information bombarding is happening, but you look at only those information which are of value to you. So you have a choice of information. So based on the choice of information, people do come in. So this is my part. My second part question, which you asked me, is the political alignment of a channel. Well, I know myself, I know some of my friends, they will like to go to a channel which is not politically aligned because they want to listen to both sides of the coin. They don't want to listen to one side of the coin. Because if I go to a channel which is politically aligned and only talks good about one particular political position, then we know what he's going to talk about it. Yeah. So people who are politically aligned will also go to that channel, but then they will not view only that channel. They will also they will again switch over to the other channel and view that channel as well. So you have a choice that you have two channels which is politically alignment to A, second political alignment to B. So you go to A, then part time you see B, or you go to a channel C which is not aligned at all. It presents both the views. To my mind, any channel which is neutral is better and is able to project the news as it should be, is able to project the analysis as it should be presented, is a better option to my mind.
Ashish, would you mirror his views or do you have a contra view?
No, not at all. I mirror his views. Absolutely what he is saying. Because agar it is not neutral, then what it is as a content. Zaruri hai for any content producing channel or any person, like you said, like journalism as well, it has to be providing you with the news. The takeout should be with me. Right now, if you are providing news with already having a fascination into one side of the story, tab fir sahi content nahi hai wo. And then, of course, you will start losing out on a lot of viewers or people who interact or engage with your content. तो मेरा भी कहना यही है, जब तक कि वो agnostic और neutral नहीं है, तब तक content का अपना मजा नहीं है.
Let me ask, Mr. Maheshwari, आपको क्या लगता है कि लोग चैनल देखते हैं क्योंकि जो पॉलिटिकल पार्टी उनको पसंद है वो चैनल उनके साथ अलाइंड हो, या वो देखते हैं क्योंकि उनको सिर्फ न्यूज चाहिए? आज के माहौल में आपको क्या लगता है?
वो स्टेट के बीच में फर्क होगा, मुझे यही लगता है. लेकिन एक बात है कि ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोग, आई थिंक लार्ज नंबर ऑफ ग्रुप इज स्टिल लुकिंग फॉर अ न्यूट्रल व्यू. मेरे ख्याल में इट विल डेफिनेटली चेंज अक्रॉस द स्टेट्स. And certainly people need content. See, because whatever we never used to hear, maybe at my age, age in the sense maybe at 10 years, 15 years back, now things are getting exposed. So if you take two different channels who are politically aligned to two different parties, you will get more content. That is my feeling. Sure. And somebody will have to analyze, even I do that. To be honest, I do that. Then you understand what is happening, what exactly is happening. So there are two sides, in fact. But of course, from the media point of view, it is always better to go with the neutral mindset. Mr.
Maheshwara, do you think, because we are largely, if you look at populations, broadly throughout, Hindi is the most prevalent language. Hindi news channels or the news genre, Hindi news genre has become an important tool for policy makers, for government, for opposition to actually communicate with the common man. And this has taken a much more serious turn, let's say in the last 5-6 years than before, because everybody is interested in putting their point of view, talking about policies, good, bad or ugly, and via that explaining to the common man. So because largely the common thread between the nation is Hindi. Of course, some can argue that South Indians don't watch, Hindi. Fair enough. But if you take broadly, a thread through the nation, Hindi is the most prevalent language. do you say that has become the most important tool for policymakers?
From different angles, it has become one of the important tools for the policymakers, of course. See, another thing is, when you talk about a group, a brand which is already there in the media house, like Times, and when we talk about our own target audience, the type of quality which we look for, being Amrita as the fourth ranked university, and when we look at the audience, and we need that kind of audience which who will watch the a brand like Times. So that is one of the important things which we have been watching, and we have been doing several programs across the past 2 to 3 years in Times Network over different platforms. So given that, I feel certainly yes, even for me also, what I have visibly seen is that the number of audience, the target audience, or the leads that is coming up from the northern states, especially from the UP, Delhi, Mumbai, that actually the Hindi belt. When you look from the Indian map, upwards towards the Andhra Pradesh and upwards. So there is a lot of engagement in that. So being an education institution, I feel that this will give us a tremendous visibility because of the quality of the target audience, and yes, that will certainly influence the way in which the policies are framed, the people who make a decision, etc.
Mr. Mahesh, coming to you, what do you think the scope of this Hindi news genre is? Abhi to it has already doubled itself, I would say, in terms of share, within all genres. It is the fastest growing genre, recorded the fastest growth. आपको क्या लगता है आगे भी there is a possibility of this growing even further, या it has hit its peak?
I don't think I'm an expert to comment on this. मैं नहीं बोल सकता कैसे होगा बिहेव. ये डिपेंड करेगा कि आप कितना इंटरेस्ट ऑडियंस का रखते हैं, हाउ रेलिवेंट यू रिमेन योरसेल्फ. बट न्यूज विल ऑलवेज बी इम्पोर्टेंट. उसमें आप एक डिफरेंट चैनल्स कितना रेलिवेंस रखते हैं, वो उसके ऊपर डिपेंड करेगा कि न्यूज जर्नल ग्रो करेगा नहीं करेगा. लोगों का इंटरेस्ट न्यूज में रहेगा, और ऑब्वियसली वो डिजिटल बहुत ज्यादा इन्फ्लुएंस करने वाला है. As digital will influence quite a bit, and maybe the news journalists themselves would like to be present in the digital media. Some of the news are present in digital media, but people will not like to wait, and people don't have time today that they will wait for a program of half an hour to view, चाहे वो हिंदी न्यूज जर्नल हो, चाहे इंग्लिश जर्नल हो, चाहे प्रोग्राम्स हो. People want quick solutions, quick fixes. So to my mind, future in India and the world over in television would remain in sports, because that's a real-time activity. People do want to watch a real-time activity. Rest all things can be watched a bit later. So in India में अभी भी क्रिकेट ही एक ऐसा गेम है जिसके ऊपर बढ़ता जा रहा है, और वो बढ़ता ही रहेगा, क्योंकि अगर उसकी बजाय जुगलिन का आएगा तो जुगलिन देखेंगे लोग, ओलंपिक ओलंपिक देखेंगे लोग, क्योंकि स्पोर्ट्स ऐसा है वो उसको बाद में रिकॉर्डेड देखने में मजा नहीं आता. स्पोर्ट्स को रियल टाइम देखने में मजा आता है. और न्यूज रियल टाइम नहीं है, न्यूज भी एक स्टेल न्यूज है. कोई स्टेल न्यूज पुराने न्यूज़पेपर में 24 घंटे के बाद दिखता था, टेलीविजन आया तो जल्दी दिखने लगा, एक घंटे में न्यूज दिख जाता है, बट डिजिटल न्यूज इमीडिएटली दिखता है. तो मैं ऐसा समझता हूँ कि फ्यूचर तो डिजिटल न्यूज का ही होने वाला है, बिकॉज क्विक न्यूज. People will come to news channels for analytics. People will come to news channels for discussions. So instead of news, people will consume news channel for debates, to my mind.
Last question before I let three of you gentlemen go. All of you are important stakeholders with Times NavBharat. What was the trigger to partner and be an important stakeholder with it, and what has been your experience so far in terms of innovation and advertiser satisfaction when it comes to Times NavBharat? Mr. Mahesh, you can go first.
Yeah, I think we are present in all major news channels. We are present there, so we know that the Times NavBharat is going to play a major role in coming times. So we wanted to be part of that group. So we never wanted to miss it. One is compulsion on that point. Number two, we have a confidence that if Times Now is going to present it in the Hindi news genre for the first time, that will perform. But let me tell you that our thinking, see, we go to news channels not for our GRPs. So when we make our marketing plan, we know we are looking at a 500 GRP program for the year. We know that the news genres will not give us GRPs. So we never count on news genres for our GRPs. The GRPs are going to come from our sports or from the general entertainment channels. The news genre is something we want to be present there because they are influential programs and they are frequency programs. So we can be present for the whole year and we could be there informative, we could be there for all the time, not for GRP. So you cannot miss a channel which is a good channel, number one. So I have to be there. Number two, by compulsion, I'm saying that. Number two, we know you will be good channel, so I should be there. So that's second. And we know that content being produced by you would be good, so I'm there. But I'll just take a second here before it's the last question you're asking, what you need to do to attract more eyeballs.
Sure.
I must share my views on that here.
Absolutely.
If you're doing a good job, you continue to do a good job. But what people are interested to know, as I said, is what is happening currently, what is happening right now. What is happening right now? If you can do that, then people will like to come and say, if I want to watch what is happening right now, people will come there. For that example, many channels have done sports activities. So all sport activities are taken like a 1 hour program or the cricket or something, debates around that. So not only political debates, के अलावा sports debate करिए आप, थोड़ा glamour, Bollywood लाइए थोड़ा सा. Bring a little bit. So people will say, okay, see, these are the things which interest people. So it's not an entertainment program. You should say, okay, this movie is being shot, or let's see what is happening in this movie set. Let's see what is happening, so and so forth. You can always have a current affair program on glamour. So if you can bring in a little bit of that, that will become unique, and people will get hooked to that. They'll say, okay, let me go and watch this program as well. So if you do that and you can bring more eyeballs, then obviously you will get GRPs. If you get GRPs, we will also be more aggressive to you. Okay, let's put our money there.
Point noted, Mr. Mahesh. I will definitely put this feedback to the management for sure. Ashish, over to you for your closing comments.
First of all, we at Medibuddy would like to really congratulate TNN on their successful launch, and you guys keep doing it, being the best you can in terms of being present in the genre as well. One point that I would like to say is the new, like Mr. Mahesh was also saying, that new formats, and we've been discussing this, that new formats also always work. So there has to be experimental news coming in from what we all want to hear as being your baseline, and that can be the next catapult for you guys. That's our suggestion. But why did we came on board? We came on board, like I suggested earlier as well, that हमारे लिए वो audience is my consumer, and that audience is what your channel knows how to reach to. So I think that's the intersection that we were looking at, and we are more than happy to be part of TNN family.
Last word to you, Mr. Maheshwara, before I close this discussion.
I have been associated, or Amrita has been associated with Times across all the platforms. You take digital, or you take branded content, or you take Times Now, any platform of Times, you have been strongly associated with, even with print also. So one thing is the way of cooperation you guys have. The second is the quality of the audience. I'm talking from the viewer point of view also, because I regularly watch almost all the political debates that comes in Times Now. So the way in which it is presented for the viewers is really good. Second is, of course, from the institutional point of view, we are also getting a very good visibility in terms of quality of the audience. And finally, yes, when you talk about the quality under the Times umbrella, you have a lot of valuable and quality products where we can reach out to the masses, especially focusing towards the target audience which we need. And yes, that is what I have to say. And all the best for the new venture.
Well, I have to, thank all three of you wholeheartedly, because अगर advertisers आपकी तरह support नहीं करते हैं news business को, then we will not have the ability to push the envelope, whether it be in terms of content, journalism, or formats. So many thanks to all three of you to come on board, and of course all our other partners who've also helped us push the envelope, helped us with the launch, and thank you for your well wishes, and more power to you. And with your help, more power to Times NavBharat. Thank you very much for joining me right here on Brand Equity. Namaste.